Too gold. You didn't deserve this ingratitude. Get ready. Do you remember the exact moment? You don't need to think too much. It's there, stored in a specific place inside you, with a date, a scent, the exact temperature of the air on that day. The moment you gave everything you had to someone, with the totality of who you are, without keeping anything for yourself, and that person turned their back as if you were just scenery, as if what you did never happened, as if your love, your loyalty, your time, your presence, everything you offered with open hands and an unreserved heart was absolutely worthless. Do you remember? And what hurts isn't just the ingratitude itself. What truly hurts, what stays awake with you at 3 in the morning when the silence is too heavy, is the question you can't stop asking yourself, how could I not have seen it? Today I'm going to answer that question. And I'm going to tell you something the universe has known for a long time, something that pain hasn't yet allowed you to see clearly. You weren't blind, you were being exactly who you are. And that was never the problem. There's something about Taurus that needs to be said before anything else. Taurus doesn't enter into a relationship, be it friendship, love, work, or family, halfway. There's no such thing as a half Taurus. There's no such thing as a weekend Taurus, a Taurus of convenience, a Taurus that stays when it's easy and disappears when things get complicated. When Taurus decides that someone matters, that decision carries the weight of a structure. It has a foundation, walls, and a roof. It has the solidity of something built to last, not to impress, but to span, and within this framework, Taurus places things that cannot be bought or returned. Real time, real presence, real effort, shared silence, care that appears before it is asked for. Taurus is the sign that arrives before the crisis, that notices before you tell them, that prepares before you ask. And that ability, that generous anticipation that is one of Taurus's deepest traits, is exactly what the wrong people learn to exploit before they leave. Because Taurus gives so naturally, so constantly, so silently, that ungrateful people never stop to count what they've received. They never stop because the flow doesn't stop. And what never stops seems precious, it seems guaranteed, until the day it stops. Let me tell you what happens inside a Taurus when ingratitude appears. There's no immediate explosion. That's not how it works with Taurus, and anyone who truly knows Taurus knows this. The first reaction isn't anger. It's a kind of quiet disbelief, an internal suspension of time where Taurus stands still within itself, processing, checking if it understood correctly, giving the benefit of the doubt with a generosity that at that specific moment works against itself. Maybe I misinterpreted it. Maybe she's going through a difficult time. Maybe he didn't realize it. Taurus spends weeks, sometimes months, in this all-encompassing state of waiting for the person to notice, waiting for recognition to arrive, waiting for the other person to come back with an explanation that makes sense, that restores balance, that proves that the investment of love was not in barren ground. And while you wait, keep giving, because for Taurus, stopping giving before being absolutely certain that they are being disrespected would be unfair. It would be hasty. It would be acting on emotion instead of evidence. And then when the evidence finally arrives, when it becomes impossible to deny that what happened was pure ingratitude, without any mitigating circumstances, Taurus feels something that few signs can feel with such depth, a disappointment that turns to stone within their chest. It's not passing anger. It's an internal reorganization. A redefinition of who this person is in the Taurus heart chart. And when Taurus redefines, it's permanent. Here's what nobody tells you about the ingratitude you've experienced. The person who was ungrateful to you wasn't ungrateful despite of everything you did. You were ungrateful. Because how did you do it? Wait, let me explain before this hurts the wrong way. There's a type of person, and you probably know at least one, who only knows how to receive what is scarce, who only values what has a visible limit, who only realizes how much something matters when it's gone. And Taurus, which gives without ceremony, which cares without announcing, which is present without demanding recognition for every gesture, unintentionally creates the illusion that what it offers is infinite, unlimited, automatically replenished. Like tap water, you only think about it when it runs out. This is not your fault. It is the specific tragedy of those who love abundantly in a world accustomed to scarcity. But this understanding, this outsider's perspective that shows you the mechanism of ingratitude, doesn't erase the pain. And I'm not going to pretend it does. What it does is something different. It frees you from the question that hurt you the most. What did I do wrong? The answer is nothing. You did nothing wrong. You were a Taurus. And being a Taurus, with all the generosity, all the constancy, all the unconditional love in a relationship with someone who wasn't up to it, isn't a mistake. It's an incompatibility, a painful incompatibility, but not a failing on your part. Now I need to stop here and ask you a direct question, because I know there's someone watching this video right now who's carrying a specific kind of ingratitude, not a generic one with a name, a face, a date, everything you gave that was never acknowledged. And this person is feeling something very particular, the silent shame of someone who loved deeply and was treated with little, that shame that doesn't make rational sense but appears anyway. The feeling that perhaps you should have been smarter, colder, more strategic, that perhaps loving so much was naivete. I want you to know that this shame is a lie. It's the voice of pain trying to transform itself into a misguided lesson. And I want you to write this in the comments, right now. For the next Taurus who watches this video and needs to read this, I gave with my whole heart and I don't regret it, because the problem was never my love. This statement isn't a sign of weakness, it's the bravest thing a wounded Taurus can say, because it means you refuse to let someone else's ingratitude taint the best part of who you are. Write this down. The next Taurus needs to read this. Let's talk about what happens next. Because ingratitude isn't just about the moment it happens, it's about what it leaves behind. Taurus who builds with such patience, who invests with such deliberation, when wounded by ingratitude, doesn't emerge from the episode the same. They emerge different. And the changes that occur within Taurus after profound gratitude are changes that Taurus themselves sometimes don't even notice while they are happening. The first change. Taurus begins to give with one hand holding the other. That generosity that flowed without monitoring begins to be accompanied by silent observation. Is this person receiving what I offer? Do they perceive it? Do they reciprocate? Not necessarily in the same way, but in some way that proves what I do has meaning for them. This isn't coldness. It's wisdom that was hard won. The second change, Taurus begins to value their own silence more. They talk less about their feelings to those who haven't yet proven they deserve to know. They keep more to themselves, not out of isolation, but out of selection, because Taurus has learned through experience that not every vessel can hold what they have to offer, and pouring into a leaky vessel is wasting what is precious. The third gear, and this is the most important, Taurus begins to recognize the signs earlier, those subtle signs that were always there, that Taurus saw, but chose to interpret benevolently. The constant delay in responses, the effort that was always asymmetrical, the absence in the moments that mattered, the convenient presence in the moments that served the other person. Taurus doesn't become more naive after a great act of ingratitude. It becomes more refined, and that is growth even if it comes wrapped in pain. But there is a trap that I need to name now, because there's a specific risk that Taurus faces after being mistreated by ingratitude. And this risk is silent, slow, and can cause more damage than the ingratitude itself caused. The risk is this: Taurus begins to believe that the solution is to diminish love. Not consciously. No one decides this aloud, but it happens underneath. A retreat here, a restraint there, a generosity that once came naturally is now double-checked before being expressed. And Taurus becomes a little smaller within itself, thinking it's getting smarter when in reality it's getting more scared. And there is a fundamental difference between these two states. Becoming smarter means learning to choose better who you direct your love towards. It means recognizing the signs of incompatibility before investing everything. It means having standards that match what you have to offer. Becoming more afraid means starting to punish yourself for the mistake of the person who disappointed you. It means cutting off your own flow of love so as not to take any more risks. It means letting one person's ingratitude contaminate how you relate to everyone else. A bull that has become smarter is a more powerful bull. A Taurus that has become more frightened is a Taurus that is paying, with interest, a debt that was never theirs. You need to know which one you're in. Now let's talk about what the universe is doing with all of this. because there's a dimension to this story that goes beyond what happened between you and that ungrateful person. A dimension that I needed you to be ready to hear, and that's why I left it for this moment. The universe doesn't allow Taurus to be mistreated indefinitely. Not because there's an automatic cosmic justice that punishes the ungrateful in real time. I'm not going to tell you that sort of thing because it wouldn't be true and you deserve the truth. But because there is a law that is real and operates concretely in the life of Taurus, what Taurus can tolerate, Taurus can attract. While Taurus accepts being treated as a given, as a plan B, as a convenient option, it attracts more of the same. Not because it deserves it, but because the level of treatment we tolerate signals to the world around us, the level of treatment we expect. And when Taurus, after the pain, after the grief of a relationship that wasn't what it seemed, rises and adjusts this sign, something changes. Not overnight. Taurus doesn't function overnight, and neither does the universe that governs Taurus. But it does change. People who arrive after experiencing and processing great ingratitude in Taurus find a different Taurus, no less generous, even more generous, because now generosity comes from choice and not habit. No less loving, more loving, because now love has direction and is not just a flow. No less present, more present, because now presence is offered to those who have shown they know what to do with it. The ingratitude you experienced was not the end of your capacity to love. It was the beginning of her ability to love better. Let me tell you about the kind of ingratitude that hurts Taurus the most, the kind that comes from within the home, because there's a hierarchy of pain here, and it would be dishonest of me not to talk about it. The ingratitude of a stranger hurts. That of an acquaintance hurts more. That of a friend hurts in a way that takes time to heal. But the ingratitude of those whom Taurus has chosen to love with all their heart, their partner, close family member, longtime friend, that pain has a place within Taurus that no other pain can match, because Taurus isn't sentimental with everyone. They're selective, discerning. They take a long time to open up, a long time to trust, a long time to let someone into the inner space where real things are kept. And when he finally lets go, when he finally decides that this person deserves to see the real Taurus, not the showy version, but the raw version, the one with fears and needs and a tenderness that's embarrassing to put into words at that moment of total openness, if ingratitude comes, it doesn't just hurt. She questions Taurus's judgment of himself. If I, who am so cautious, who took so long to trust, who evaluated so much before opening up, if even then I made the wrong choice, do I really know how to evaluate people? Can my perception be trusted? This doubt is the slowest and most devastating poison that ingratitude plants in Taurus, and it needs to be named in order to be fought. You didn't misinterpret it. You were right about the person. You are a who did you see? People change. People reveal layers they hide while they need you and expose them when they no longer need you. This isn't a failure of perception. It's human complexity to encounter the generosity of Taurus in a meeting for which neither of you was completely prepared. You're not naive, you're human, and humans get hurt. Even the most careful ones, even the most resilient ones, even bulls. And now the part that the universe wants you to hear with every cell of your body, you will be recognized. Not because of the person who didn't know how to value you. That door closed, and it closed for reasons that have everything to do with who she is and nothing to do with how much you were worth. Don't expect recognition from someone who never had the capacity to truly see you. It would be like expecting a colorblind person to describe the colors of the sunset, but you will be recognized. For the next bond you build after learning what this pain has taught you. For the person who will enter your life and realize, in the first gestures, in the first shared silence, in the first time you care for them without them asking, they will realize they've arrived at a different place. A place where love isn't performance, isn't strategy, isn't a calculated exchange. It is structure, it is presence, it is real, and that person will know they'll know it in their body before they know it in their mind, that what you offer is rare, that it doesn't exist everywhere, that the luck they had in reaching you deserves to be honored with the same seriousness with which you honor everything that matters. This recognition will come, not as a reward. You're not a character in a fairy tale, as a natural consequence of who you choose to be after this pain. And the choice that the universe is placing before you now is simple and at the same time the most difficult one that Taurus can make. Are you going to let someone's ingratitude rewrite who you are? Or will you use this pain as building material, the way Taurus knows how to do with everything that seems impossible, and transform what tries to diminish you into the foundation of a version of yourself that no one else will be able to accept as true? The answer is already within you. Taurus never needed anyone to answer for him. He never needed permission to rebuild. He never needed the world to assess his pain to begin moving beyond it. But sometimes you need someone to look you in the eye, even if through a screen, and clearly tell you what the pain has muddled. You didn't deserve this ingratitude. It wasn't about you not being enough. It was about them not being capable. It wasn't about you having loved too much. It was about them not yet having learned how to receive real love without wasting it. It wasn't about you being naive. It was about you being genuine, and genuineness in a superficial world will seem like vulnerability to those who have never felt anything deep enough to hurt. Its depth was never the problem. It was always the solution, for the right people, in the right connection. At the moment the universe decides you've carried the pain of the wrong person for long enough, and it's time to experience what happens when everything you are meets someone who knows exactly what to do with it. That moment is approaching. Get ready. If this video reached the place it needed to reach, if it touched a wound you were carrying alone, thinking it was your own doing, that you had done something wrong, that maybe you should have loved less, I want you to do one thing now. In the comments, don't write anyone's name, it's not necessary. Just write this: I truly gave my all, I don't regret it, and my next commitment will honor who I am. This statement is an agreement with the universe. And Taurus, which takes agreements more seriously than any other sign, knows the weight of what it is declaring. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and share with that Taurus you know who is suffering in silence because of someone who didn't deserve the love they received. Because this Taurus needs to know that he is not alone, and the story didn't end here. Until our next meeting.